Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Daily Debate. My name is Ahmed Nader and tonight we'll be focusing as usual on the latest development in the field of energy in Egypt and the process of the implementation and the construction of Al-Dab'a nuclear power plant in the governorate of Marsa Matruh. The latest developments, the progress made in such a huge project for the future of Egypt in terms of having clean energy in the future of the country. But we will be, of course, focusing on the advent of the holy month of Ramadan. Greetings to all of you from Nile TV International and from the Daily Debate. We'll be starting straight away with the top story for today, and it comes with the holy month of Ramadan, as the Moon Sighting Committee of Al-Azhar Institute announced on Sunday that the first day of the holy month of Ramadan will be on Tuesday. The committee had met after the evening prayers, soon after the Maghrib prayers, to ascertain and confirm the reports of the moon sighting. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi greeted the Arab and the Islamic worlds on the occasion of the holy month of Ramadan, wishing Muslims around the world prosperity and a blissful month. Sending greetings, as I've mentioned, from Nile TV International to all our viewers, and more specifically from the Daily Debate, as tonight we'll be focusing on Al-Dab'a nuclear power plant and the latest in terms of the construction of the plant itself in the governorate of Marsa Matruh. As I've mentioned, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi had greeted the Arab and the Islamic worlds on the occasion of the holy month of Ramadan, wishing Muslims around the world and the globe prosperity and a blissful month. We will be having as well a report about the latest presidential activities of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi this week, and more specifically on Saturday, the meeting of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi with his Tunisian counterpart Kais Saied on an official visit to Egypt, and the main issues that were tackled during the meeting of both presidents. So we'll be seeing more information about such a meeting in the upcoming report.
Tunisian President Kais Saied affirmed on Saturday that his country would never accept Egypt's water security to be compromised. Saied's statement came during a joint press conference with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi at the Ittihadiyya Presidential Palace in Cairo. Prior to Saied's remarks, President al-Sisi said that the issue of the Egyptian water security was tackled during his meeting with Saied, given that it is part of Arab national security. The president discussed with his Tunisian counterpart Cairo's efforts to reach a fair and comprehensive agreement on the rules for filling and operating the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The Tunisian president said during the press conference that President al-Sisi was speaking of fair solutions, but not at the expense of Egypt. The remarks came less than a week after the collapse of the latest round of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam negotiations in Kinshasa. As a result of reaching a deadlock in talks with Ethiopia, Egypt's Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry asserted in television statement last Tuesday that Egypt and Sudan would head to the United Nations Security Council to brief it on developments of the dispute caused by the massive $4.8 billion Ethiopian hydropower project. Egypt and Sudan have been negotiating for almost a decade now with Ethiopia to reach a legally binding deal on the dam issue, which Addis Ababa been constructing on the Blue Nile since 2011.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate. As I've mentioned in the beginning of the program, that we'll be celebrating the holy month, or the first day of the holy month of Ramadan on Tuesday in Egypt. We've had some information about the presidential activities of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, which took place on Saturday in the past report, and the meeting of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi with the Tunisian president, or the Tunisian counterpart, Kais Saied, on an official visit to the country. We'll be switching to the main topic for tonight on the Daily Debate, and the importance of nuclear energy, the peaceful and clean energy, the importance of it through, of course, will be generated through the Al-Daba nuclear power plant at Marsa Matruh Governorate, and to be focusing and shedding more light on such an important project for the future of Egypt. I am honored to be having with me in the studio tonight Dr. Ibrahim Ismail, the Professor of Nuclear Materials at the Engineering Faculty at Cairo University, and the Industrial Consultant at Zuwail City for Science and Technology. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
It's my pleasure, sir.
Pleasure is all mine. We'll be having a report about the main topic for tonight, the importance of the nuclear energy for the future of Egypt. So let's see it.
Al-Daba nuclear power plant will be Egypt's first nuclear power plant, being developed in Matruh Governorate on the Mediterranean coast. Russian State Atomic Energy Corporation is the developer of the proposed Al-Daba nuclear power plant, which will be owned and operated by the Nuclear Power Plant Authority. The site approval permit for the plant was obtained from the Egyptian Nuclear and Radiological Regulatory Authority in March 2019. While the construction permit for the first unit of the plant is expected in 2021, the commissioning of the first unit is expected to begin in 2026. The power plant will comprise 4 pressurized water reactors with a total capacity of 4.8 gigawatts, which is expected to account for up to 50% of Egypt's power generation capacity. The project is expected to boost the country's economy and industrial development by creating up to 50,000 jobs. The government of Egypt signed 2 contracts with the Russian government for the construction and financing of Al-Daba nuclear power plant in November 2015. The first stage of the preliminary engineering survey was conducted in 2016, while hydrographic and hydrological survey work was carried out in 2017. Al-Daba nuclear power plant site is in close proximity to railroad and transmission interconnections.
Welcome back, Dr. Ibrahim Ismail. Thank you very much for being with us tonight once again on the Daily Debate. First of all, the first nuclear power plant in Egypt, the importance of having such one for the future of the country.
Honestly speaking, it was a dream for all the people who used to work or have some relationship with the nuclear technology or nuclear engineering.
Yes.
Since the establishment of the Nuclear Authority of Egypt in 1960. And it took us too long time to come to this happy end, I hope. And it is highly needed, not just for energy, but for technology as well.
So about 60 years,
yes,
maybe more.
We started the nuclear program in Egypt in 1960.
Yes.
During Nasser era, and continued from that time till in 2021 now. We are going to, or we are establishing the
And this is the
one.
first step since 1960.
No, we cannot say it like that. The road was long and full of activities. For example, we established our first research reactor with Russian support in 60s. In 19th, we established our second research reactor with the support from Argentina. And we also established our nuclear waste treatment facility in Anchas,
Yes.
also in 1991. 91 years.
Yes.
So we had a lot of work before on the nuclear field. Also, we have a lot of nuclear activities being done and being applied for different sectors in Egypt. One of the most important application is in radiotherapy, for example.
Yes.
So we had a lot of cobalt source, technetium source.
So it is not just about generating energy and electricity for the country.
Previous activities was not producing electricity or energy. Previous activities was research or for medical or agriculture or for something like that. But currently project is our first power generation project.
Yes.
Which is now being with the support of Rosatom Export from Russia, which is a very capable and well-known name in the market of nuclear power.
Yes, Doctor, you mentioned that we had steps in 1960, 1980, 1991. So the pace of those steps, the pace of work, do you think that it is getting accelerated under the tenure of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the pace of work itself?
It was a breakthrough. Signing a contract with Rosatom to establish this project is a breakthrough in the field. It is the biggest ever investment we did in nuclear power, and we were dreaming of having such projects for years and years.
Yes.
And I think nobody was sure or trusting that we shall do such a mega project, but we did it. So we have to be proud of that.
Yes, and the location of the nuclear power plant at Al-Dab'a was chosen in 1983 at Marsa Matruh Governorate. Why do you think this specific location was chosen back then?
Choosing a location or a site location for a nuclear power is not an easy job. There's a lot of parameters we have to study and we have to look for very carefully. For example, we have to do geophysics studies to find a location where we have a minimal potential for earthquakes. I cannot go and put a nuclear power plant on a fault, a geological fault, where I can find or I can expect earthquakes, for example. In this concern, the Egyptian National Institute for Geophysics and Astronomy did a lot of work to investigate and different areas of Egypt, and we have located 5 possibilities from this point of view, geophysics and potentiality for earthquakes and so on.
5 different places.
We found that there's 5 possible places where we can do that.
Yes.
Another parameter is we need water. We need a lot of water for cooling, for treatment, so we need to be close to a water source. If you look to the...
It could be the sea?
It could be the sea or it could be the river. Doesn't matter. We can handle both technologically, but we need water.
Yes.
We have to have it near a place where the population is minimal. I don't want to put it in Cairo, for example, but we have to go to an area where the population is minimal. Yes. So there was a lot of discussions, there was a lot of studies, and finally they found that this place was selected as the best one. So they started with.
What were the other places, the potential other places to be having nuclear reactors?
There was places on the Red Sea, there was places in south near Sinai, near Aswan, but as I told you before, Dab'a was optimal.
That's the best place, in your opinion. In which phase are we now in terms of building the Dab'a power plant?
First, we have to say that nuclear power plant is a unique project. We cannot compare it in our mind with any other one before. It's unique in everything. Even if I'm going to build, I have to use a special concrete. We don't use a normal concrete. I cannot use just dolomite and sand. I must have what we call it heavy concrete. And now we are establishing all the designs. This is Rosatom job.
Yes.
They are establishing all the designs, and they have what we call localization plan for their own technology, because they have their own codes. They have their own standards.
Yes.
These standards are not the common standards we used to use in Egypt.
And it's translated here.
It is not just translated, it is we have to do adaptation, we have to do localization for this standard. Maybe he needs something which we don't have at all in Egypt, or maybe he insists on something because he needs it in Russia for this very cold weather, but we don't have. There's many different. So they have what we call localization or technology or localization processes, which is now undergoing. And I had the chance to work with them in this field or in this era to establish our new or our resources for the concrete.
At the power plant?
The concrete of the power plant, yes. So now they are going to start erection and civil work and so on in a couple of months. And we are expecting our first nuclear reactor to come into operation by 2026.
2026?
Yes.
What would be the difference in terms of generating electricity in 2026 with this reactor? Can we feel the difference, or it would be just heading to exports?
No. As a user, we cannot feel anything. Electricity is the same regardless. It's a source of energy.
Yes.
And we have a very powerful electric network in Egypt. When you can supply the network from any position, from any location, with any energy resource, and you can consume it in any other place.
Yes.
So our unified network is fantastic. Therefore, as a final user, we will not feel anything. But what we can say is, why did we choose to go into nuclear power? Why didn't we stuck to the normal, traditional power stations, or even with some new renewable power stations? Nuclear power station has some advantages which attracted us to go to this. For example, it has what we call a very dense energy. The amount of energy we can produce from one reactor is 1.2 gigawatt. It is very big.
Yes.
It is double combined cycle. Usually the combined cycle unit in Egypt, 600 megawatts. So it is double the thermal power station.
Yes.
Now, number two, it is robust, or the availability of the power station is very high. So I am not afraid of shortage of fuel. I'm not afraid of some climate change, like if we are doing wind energy or the sunset for solar energy. It is a very dense, very robust energy. So I can completely rely on this energy in planning. Usually, in any network of electricity, we can have some power plants, small power plants, or small energy suppliers like wind turbines, like PV, like what we have in Bimbana and so on.
Yes.
Those energy sources are useful for sure, and they are not consuming any fuel, and they have a very mild effect on the environment, in some cases zero effect on the environment, but they have a problem of uncontinuity. They are not continuous supply. If we go to wind energy, we have high wind season, we have low wind season, we have high wind time, we have low wind time. If we go to the solar, we have the same.
Sunsets?
Sunset and sunset, right. Yes. So we have the daytime, like 9 hours, we can harness the solar energy, but the rest 15 hours we cannot. So if I am relying on PV, for example, or any solar, I have to store big amount of energy to be used in the night. But with nuclear, we have no problem at all. We can rely on it 100%. So this is the beautifulness of nuclear power. Number two is its operation cost is very low. And the cost of fuel...
Less than the renewable energy?
No. If we want to compare renewable and nuclear, renewable will be operation cost very low.
Less expensive.
Especially PV. It is almost zero. But the problem with renewable is the discontinuity, and it is very low density. How much energy we are going to get from Bimban power station, which is amazing power station.
One of the
BV
biggest in the world, if not
Yes,
the biggest.
but how much area did we use for it? Compare it with Daba. 1 to 10,000, something like that. So this is why I'm saying nuclear is dense, robust, high availability source of energy. So this is the advantage of nuclear power. Also, some people have some fearness or some concerns regarding the safety
Yes.
and regarding environment. And the propaganda or the media focused on nuclear accidents.
Yes.
Yes, it is tremendous effect. But in total, how many?
One or two in the history of
We have three,
mankind. Yes.
major three. We have Chernobyl, we have Sea Island in America, and we have Fukushima Daiichi in Japan. And I had the chance myself while I was studying my PhD in Japan to visit this power station while it was working in the 90s. And in 2014, I was invited as a visiting professor to Tokyo Institute of Technology to deal with radiation or radioactive contamination in seawater
Yes.
released by this accident. So I have a lot of information about the accident. The accident that happened in Fukushima, which was very tragic, was not expected at all. First, when we design a nuclear power station, we design against earthquakes. So the station in Fukushima was designed to withstand up to earthquake of power of 9 on Richter scale. And 9 is very, very rare. And the record, as I know, maybe I'm not the expert in this, but as I remember, we had one in South America, and we have this in Fukushima. This is the two records at this level. The station survived the earthquake. Although it is 9, it survived the earthquake. But they got a tsunami, which was very high, the first in their history to receive a tsunami with this height. The station was designed to withstand tsunami up to 15 meters, and they got like 19 meters or 20, something like that. So it was very unexpected. And then what happened is that tsunami removed water cooling system. So how can they control it? So it was like very unexpected.
A natural disaster.
Disaster.
Yes.
But if we come to our situation, we are not expecting tsunamis in seas because it is limited space. Tsunamis comes when you are facing oceans.
Yes.
Number two, our plant also is designed to withstand up to 9 Richter earthquakes. In Egypt, we had the maximum, or the one which occurs in 19th, 30 years ago. It was 5.5 or 5.6.
Yes.
And this Richter scale is logarithmic scale, which means when I said an earthquake 5 degree and another earthquake 6 degree, the 6 degree is 10 times the 5. It is not just 20% or more, 5 to 6, no.
Yes.
It is 10 times. And the 7 degree is 100 times the 5.
So the reactors or the plant could be withstanding about
More
1,000
than
times.
10,000 times what happened in 19th in Egypt. And we don't have any strategic fault to generate such huge earthquake. So I am comfortable with that. So I don't have any feeling that this plant could be like a source of annoying or a source of hazards for us.
We'll be having 4 reactors at Daba power plant. It could be generating, as you've mentioned, Doctor, 1.28 gigawatts per reactor.
Yes.
How much electricity should we be expecting upon its
4.8?
completion? Yes, in 2026.
No.
The 4 reactors will be completed?
No, in 2026, the first one will start, the last one by 28. So by 28, we expect 4.8 gigawatt power.
How much could this be covering in terms of perspective?
Let's put it that way. How much energy are Egypt is producing?
Yes.
40 gigawatt. So you are adding like 12% or more or less to your power network.
Per year?
12% production capacity. You are producing according to what you need.
Yes.
So the production of electricity is not constant every day. Even it is not constant every hour. Because we have peak hours, we have low demand hours, so we have to adjust our production of electricity not to waste energy.
Yes.
So this is a rule of the networking, and it is a complete subject in power engineering. It is a complete subject how to study and maintain and control this networking.
Yes.
So we are adding 4.8 gigawatt. It's huge. It is a powerful tool in the hand of the Ministry of Electricity and the companies who are generating, distributing, controlling the energy. And it will help transferring Egypt into an energy hub.
Yes. How can it be helping the economy of Egypt?
First, the production of electricity per capita is a measure of the development of a country.
Yes.
We need energy for almost every aspect of our life. Even for agriculture, for farming, for fishing, for whatever activity you want to do, you need energy.
Yes.
So our demand of energy is increasing and will keep increasing. In past it was 7% per year, maybe now it is 10 plus or minus, so we are increasing in energy demanding. So we need this energy. This energy could help us doing industries,
Yes.
could help us doing water desalination if I need to compensate some of the water shortage we are going to face. I hope not, but we have to consider the black scenario or the
Yes.
worst scenario. So we need this energy. Now, there's another project Egypt is working very perfectly on, which is a connection with other countries. I am connecting my energy grid, my network, with the network of Sudan, with the network of Saudi Arabia, with the network of Jordan. Most probably we can go to Europe. And this connection of network allow us to exchange energy between countries based on the peak. For example, suppose my maximum production is 35 gigawatt,
Yes.
megawatt,
Yes.
sorry, gigawatt.
Gigawatt.
And in the peak, I need 38. Instead of building another power station to compensate this 3 gigawatt, I connect with another country where the peak time is not my own peak time, like Saudi Arabia. The peak power consumption in Saudi Arabia is at noon to afternoon, between 12 to 4 or 5, because of very hot weather. So everybody is operating his air condition at the maximum, so consuming a lot of energy. At that time, Egypt is not on peak time. Our peak is afternoon, between 7 to 11. So I can give him electricity in his peak time, and he can give me back electricity in my peak time. And for sure, there are some metering systems, and by the end, they make calculations who give more, and they will be paid.
Yes.
But this cost is much less.
So it's like importing and exporting, not just cooperating between the
It
other
is
countries.
exchanging, and finally, who took more energy has to pay the other one. But the cost of doing such system is very, very economic if we compare it with building a complete station to work for 4 hours.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense. And now we are expanding our network connections with other countries. So after adding this 4.8 of high availability power generation unit, we will be able to export more. We will be able even, maybe, I cannot assure because I don't know the calculation, maybe the energy could go down a little bit, especially for heavy energy industries.
Yes.
Heavy energy industries like cement, like steel, like aluminum, needs the price of electricity to go down to be able to compete. So with using normal combined cycle stations like those of Siemens or others, it is not possible now to give them some support. So maybe after this one, there could be a room to do such a support.
What is the importance of varying the energy resources as we are heading into the nuclear future of Egypt?
It is well known that don't put your egg in one cell.
Yes.
So we must have different types of energy support. We cannot rely on some specific source and abandon the others. In Egypt now, we have almost all types of energy is being produced and utilized in Egypt. For example, we have gas, natural gas, we have oil, and we have all types of renewable energy. We have solar thermal, we have solar PV, we have wind energy, and we are expanding in wind energy in the last 5 years. There's a lot of work to build new wind farms in Za'farana, in Jabal Zayt, on the shore of the Gulf of Suez, because this area has the maximum air or wind speed in Egypt. It's perfect.
Yes.
And I think we almost used all the lands available at this good speed for farming. To the degree we are now starting to replace some old wind farm with old technology, producing small amount of energy. We built 20 years ago, 40 years ago, I don't know, and building in the same place more advanced wind farm to produce energy. From hydroelectric power, we were a pioneer in Africa, and we had hydroelectric power from the High Dam, from Aswan Dam, from many barrages in Asyut, in Esna, in many places we are producing hydroelectric power. I think we reached the maximum. There's no other potentiality to have hydroelectric power generated in Egypt. We are generating almost 100% of our potentiality.
Yes.
Coal is not used in Egypt for energy production, for electricity production, but it is used as a fuel in cement plants, and many cement plants in Egypt now are using coal.
So we're not depending on it.
Not depending, but we are using as a thermal energy, not for power generation, not for electric power generation, but as an energy for cement plant. Cement plant is very energy intensive industry.
Yes.
We need around 800 kilocalorie per kilogram of clinker, so it's very high energy. So the cheapest energy now it can be used in cement plant is coal. And in 2012, it was the first time to start talking about using coal as an energy source or fuel for cement plant. And I had the chance to join the committee to put the protocol and the codes for utilizing coal as an energy source for cement industry in Egypt. And currently, all cement plants in Egypt are utilizing coal except one, which is still using natural gas. But all other plants are using coal. And the coal is using for cement, it's being used also in steel industry.
Yes.
But we are not producing electricity out of coal in Egypt.
Yes, so depending on the heavy industries as a fuel for the coal. Yes. Speaking of the management and, excuse me, the future management and the operation of Al-Dab'a nuclear power plant, how do you see it through your experience, as you've mentioned that you have vast experience and visits to Japan, to different countries, and countries relying on nuclear energy. How do you think the management and the operation of Al-Dab'a nuclear power plant will be going ahead through, as you mentioned, Doctor, the cooperation between Egypt and Russia as well?
Okay. We have Egyptian graduates from Faculty of Engineering, Nuclear Engineering Department in Alexandria University.
Yes.
And we have different people from Faculty of Science, from Faculty of Engineering, from Mechanical, Electrical, who spent all their life career in nuclear technology. Egypt is not suffering or have any shortage.
We have the human resources.
We have human resources.
Yes.
My professor who taught me my master, who was my supervisor in my master degree in 1991, Professor Hisham Fuad Ali,
Yes.
who was the chairman of Egyptian Nuclear Authority before, he spent 62 years in nuclear industry in Egypt. And we are operating now two nuclear reactors. Maybe not as big as that of Daba, but it is the same concept. But it is the same threats, and it is the same control system. And also, one from Russia, same technology. Maybe now we have more advanced technology, but I think the same philosophy. So we are not lacking human resource. Besides, part of the contract with Rosatom Export will be to starting the nuclear power and to operate it for some time and training our staff while these startups. So with time, we'll be able to do it. As when you are introducing everything new, you get the technology from outside, and the people who come, the experts who came from outside, start to learn and teach and educate and mentor your people to be able to depend on yourself in a couple of years or something.
And why do you think Egypt chose Russia and vice versa to be building and operating the nuclear power plant?
From my point of view,
Yes.
which is personal, the best equipment, heavy equipment or weapons we ever used were coming from Russia. Russian technology is robust, productive, and Russians are a partner you can rely on to continue the project. If we do the project with any other country, there will always debates. There will be always, how can I say, a possibility for discontinuity.
Yes.
So from my own point of view, Russia was the only one I can trust.
Depending on the expertise and the experience of Russia in this field, would you tell us more about the experience of Russia in building and operating and training even the human resources to be operating the nuclear power plant in Al-Daba?
They did in different previous Soviet Union countries.
Yes.
They did it with Iran. They are doing now with Turkish. So we are not the first one. And the reason why Turkish decided to do it with Russia is the same. Because
The experience.
not just the experience. It is experience, technology, and trust. When you contract Russians for such a project, they will do it. If you contract somebody else, I'm not sure the contract will be executed. And if you want to know how, look what happened with Iran. Originally, the plant was not Russian. It was coming from Europe. And then they stopped.
Wasn't completed.
Stop. They didn't complete. Russian came and complete for them. If we go with somebody else, we may have the same story. I need a trustable partner.
Trust and honesty are the pillars of any cooperation and relationship between any other country, of course, and Egypt. And speaking at this specific instance, Egypt and Russia, do you think that building and operating and training the human resources of Egypt at Al-Daba nuclear power plant would be giving a new dimension to the bilateral ties between Egypt and Russia, an elevation of ties?
It already did. We have ultimate relationship now with Russia. We are building nuclear power plant. Nuclear power plant is not a normal project or a small project. It is a mega project. Also, we got some very nice fighters, MiG-29, M2, and Sukhoi 35. So yes, we can trust them and we can rely on the relationship with them.
Yes, and there's a school, an advanced school for helping and training the human resources of Egypt to be operating and maintaining and managing the Al-Daba nuclear power plant. What is the importance of having the school at the same time as building the power plant and not just afterwards?
To have a chance to attend the project from the beginning, from scratch, and to build the knowledge day by day and step by step during the erection of the plant. It is much, much beneficial to go from first step, to watch the welders, to watch the concrete pumps while operating, to check the concrete mix design,
Yes.
to check the insulation, the radiation resistance, everything. So if everything is being built while I am watching and studying, and you teach the students some classes, and then you take them to see exactly what you said while it is being implemented. It is a unique opportunity for experience.
Doctor, do you think that we have the latest technology being applied
Yes.
when building the power
100%.
plant?
100% sure.
On the other hand, we did see a visit by the delegation of the International Atomic Energy Agency and high praise given to Egypt and, of course, Russia in terms of building and constructing the power plant and training and maintaining the safety capabilities of the power plant. How do you see such a praise coming from the International Atomic Energy Agency at this specific time?
It is a support for us, and it is, first of all, they are speaking the truth.
Yes.
They are not going to do any kind of compliment for us. They have expressed what they have seen. And as I said before, we are not starting from scratch. We started our first nuclear program in 1960. I think the first one was Salah Hidayat, peace be upon her. And it is a long time now. It is 60 years something, so for sure we are capable to do that.
Under President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in the past 6 or 7 years, how do you see the strides taken in terms of progress and development in the energy sector in general?
First of all, in 2013, we had a deep shortage of energy. We have a problem with electricity. And we knew how much shortage we had. And it comes from two resources. The production capacity was less than our peak time by 3 gigawatt. And even this production capacity, we were not able to confirm or to assure its availability all the time. I had a lot of problem with maintenance and a lot of problem with fuel supply. So therefore, the situation was well known to everybody. In 2014, I attended a meeting in National Center of Research to put like a milestones for the energy plan.
Yes.
To be submitted to President Sisi. And the situation was very troublesome.
Yes.
And the needed cost was too high. The decision to make a contract with Siemens, with this mega power plant, release all these stresses from our life and supply Egyptians with continuous supply of electricity. Now, it is not just we are having our needs, we are having more than what we need. Production capacity now in Egypt is more than what Egyptians needs, which allow us to export. So we cannot compare the two situations.
Yes, and finally, how do you see the future of Egypt in terms of energy?
In terms of energy, if we continue the same way we are doing, we will be, as I said, an energy hub. We can transfer energy between Africa and Europe, between Africa and Asia, and we can become one of the main exporters of energy after this nuclear power station.
Yes, Dr. Ibrahim Ismail, the professor of nuclear materials at the engineering faculty at Cairo University and the industrial consultant at Zuweid City for Science and Technology. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate, and greetings on the holy month of Ramadan.
Thank you very much. The pleasure was mine to be invited to such a nice program. Thank you
very much. Pleasure is mine. And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching and goodbye. See you again.